Otsukimi here. Who else would it be? This is a mini market update for Monday, January 22nd. I hope you had a good day. I didn't really. Had a lot of issues outside of crypto, but that's okay. That's not what we're here for. We're going to take a look at Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana. The markets did pretty bad, actually, as well. And so I did observations with Otsu a little bit earlier, maybe about 6 to 8 hours ago. So a lot not much has changed necessarily, but we have gotten some confirmations of what I'm looking for. Usually, my Monday updates like this are just confirmations of the observations with Otsu video. So, none of that is mandatory to watch. I'm trying my best to keep each video isolated from one another. So, and also too, I just got a new computer. I'm having issues with the formatting. So apparently, like my new computer is 4K, and so it's like actually technically I think it's like 5K or something. But I need to reformat it before I send it. Didn't know that, and so having issues. So I'll stand by with that. Hopefully everything will be fine for this video. So go ahead and start with Bitcoin and on the daily. So had the drop down pretty much ended all the way at the end. And so one of my concerns about Bitcoin was that it still looked okay as long as we didn't kind of break this block area, this liquidity block on the low side. Um, sometimes I call it liquidity support, things like that. We broke completely through actually, so I think that this is going to accelerate just a little bit. I don't think it's going to accelerate maybe too much, but I think a lot of people, I see this online already. Like people are like, well, my timeline is bullish, my timeline is bearish, so that means we're gonna, my timeline is bearish, so we're gonna be bullish. No, no, just shut up, okay, and start looking at what the charts have been telling you. And ever since we had this deviation here, that was your time to sell. Okay, your time wasn't necessarily to sell here. Obviously, you can look at that in hindsight, right? But once we had this above strike, and then we had this um, deviation, I keep mentioning this was your time to sell. So keep that in mind when we get that in the future, because we always get one in the future. And so um, that's the downside. Now, the other option is this could be a deviation. We don't know it yet. It needs to confirm to the upside. The good news is this has already broken down. If you're looking for a deviation to the upside, that's a very clear sign of a bullish momentum. So just keep that in mind. We're not there yet. It needs to confirm. That's why I wait for confirmations. Had this downtrend here, kind of bounced a little bit, nothing significant so far. I'm pretty sure we're on our way to 38,000. I mentioned that in observations, that this area right here, actually I'll just get rid of all of this. This is what I'm looking at right here. And so top maybe of 37.9, 38 usually. Um, we can hit that. We could probably actually wick down to about 36.7. And so that's kind of what I'm looking at, somewhere around there. I think we'll probably hit the middle of that. Usually when we get these upward consolidations, we do actually hit the mid. So just watch out for that. And that's where I would consider a long potentially. Depends on the bounce. We don't have a divergence, nothing like that. So unfortunately, there's nothing else you can do with it except for just watch the car accident, kind of thing. So you also have these wicks going down, kind of just a failure. I still think that we're going to go down. We might take a break for a day or two. I'm not really sure. We have a small um, breaker here, and so I measured it from this line here, but it looks like we have it so far. If this holds in the 4 hour, I think we could bounce up even as high as 40,000 again, but I think we might fail that, and so I'm still looking for this 36.8, and that's pretty much all is said about Bitcoin. I think again, my overall sentiment for all of this is I think people are too bullish still. I really do. I've felt that for a couple weeks now. Not necessarily like, I mean, I'm not saying like we should sell either. So don't think the opposite's true either. But we clearly had some short-term euphoria that's died down, and so looking at this. So going on to Ethereum, this was the long that we were looking at. And so it closed below here, so that long is not valid. But what you could do is you could actually long here at market conditions. You could do a very aggressive one at a stop loss here with a maybe a re-changed take profit at 2,700. Very good healthy 4.56. But I don't like that particularly because it's too close. I think, and plus with the down move being really in potential, this down here makes more sense. entry at 22, stop loss at 21.20. I think that makes better sense. Or you could wait until we get above that 2400 and try to use that stop loss at 2250 that I talked about. So other than that, that's kind of how I see Ethereum. Again, we had this push down. That's not a good sign, and so not a good sign at all. So that is basically a deviation as well. So I don't like longing deviations. It just doesn't. That's like the least thing you want to do. But you do have this consolidation. So if we hold this on the mid, which we could, and I hopefully we should, we could bounce to 2400 again, and then we could long that. So nothing much else with lower time. A lot of lower time frames just don't really look good. Got the scythe action right here that isn't really particularly inviting for anything. Again, I'm not really a big fan of longing or shorting anything. We have a touch here that looks pretty good. So I think we could bounce a little bit and hit this mid. I think the mid looks pretty decent. At 2280 for a touch. So let's go ahead and go to Solana. Solana broke down here. This is kind of a long signal I looked at for observations with Otsu, but this pretty much hasn't changed much. We didn't even wick that significantly. Now the good news is we already have a push down here, and so if we don't get a new low, we could be setting up a bullish consolidation, a very wide one, and so that makes me think that we could go here to $78 and then kind of bounce above. That's kind of what I'm looking at. So we'll see how that operates. But so far, got the down move I was looking for finally. It's been a while, about 2 months, but it looks like we're getting that. And this wick here that we had for that scam news that one time, that was pretty much a clear sign. I think I briefly mentioned this. I didn't mention it significantly. That's kind of your key. Like, it's kind of a cheat sheet to tell you where the price will probably end up going, and that is the $78. So we'll see how that goes. So technically, it already did hit, but this is a very clear-cut sign that this is a fade. I think that looks almost obvious, and so I think it'll probably match up with that trend line like so. Dipping down and hitting this again. I think that's kind of where I would look for a bounce. I'm interested in longs, not yet, getting close, but yeah, I think I would just let the market cool off, in my opinion. I'm not interested in too many longer shorts. I'm doing a few, not a lot. Nothing. I'm not doing anything on my personal actually, because all of it's spot. I'm just waiting for good opportunities and waiting for the market to go, come around again, I guess, so to speak. So let me know what you think. Happy to have conversations. I'm going to start more discussions in the chat. I've been kind of, AWOL a little bit for the past, 3 to 5 days with things. Yeah, happy to have discussions. I'll see you in the chat.